Um, remember, it's more important in this day and age to have a well-trained army than a large army. It's no longer the days of the Revolutionary War where the British would stand in a large square and just use their sheer numbers to overcome any enemies. We have to fight enemies now that are using guerrilla tactics and are not always easy to figure out. So quality is definitely more important than quantity in this day and age, which means that money that would have been spent toward a draft could potentially go toward paying higher salaries to troops, which would give a bigger incentive to go into the army, bring in smarter people, and keep people who are in the army even longer. As Fred Kaplan, a writer from Slate.com, says, we do need more troops. How do we get them if not from a draft? The inescapable answer is that we have to pay for them, maybe a lot more. It is not asking too much to sacrifice some of the extra income for those who risk the ultimate sacrifice. Our current system is a reserve system, which is where people can sign up to be weekend warriors, which means that they go in on weekends to a station, and if wartime calls for more people, they can be taken up. And the way this system works, we always have a buffer of well-trained people in case we need them. So having the reserve system makes a lot more sense than having a draft. And military leadership is against a draft, according to Tim Kaine, PhD, from the Heritage Foundation. He says the generals and admirals argue that a draft would create enormous structural and management problems. Morale and force cohesiveness would suffer intensely, particularly with a two-caste military, like we would have if there was a draft. And finally, I'd like to bring up, according to Anthony Gregory from the Future of Freedom Foundation, that according to the 13th Amendment, compelled servitude is not legal in the United States, and therefore the draft is potentially unconstitutional. Thank you.